Chapter 6. Lead me into temptation. For Desecras, the advent of the morning bore no glad tidings, only the end of his nocturnal reign of terror on the descendants of Adam. On this morning, the sun's ascension held more resentment than usual, for this day marked another day he had not found the fallen angel his master coveted. And with Satan's arrival in Ashdod fast approaching, the consequences of this failure hung over Desecras's head like a sharpened axe. He remained in his sanctuary, content to delegate the needs of the principality to his slaves while he thought about his next steps. He had sent out another, much larger wave of demons to retrieve his prize, only to have a full day pass without any of them returning to him. What could he do next? The Prince of Ashdod left his subterranean haven and, once outside, flew to the highest perch in the city, the western watchtower, and scanned the city for opportunities in the daylight. He grabbed the star-shaped amulet nestled on his muscled chest, squeezed it until black liquid oozed over it, and then he grunted an incantation from the old, secret language of the pits of hell. Nes stromius de anthium fire opprescum. Desecras loved to speak the ancient tongue of the pits. It brought back the frenzied glee all of Satan's servants felt when they no longer had to obey the Lord of all creation. This incantation called all his slaves to his favorite perch, all along the watchtower of Ashdod. Once the congregation of over 1,000 demons encircled him, Desecras spoke. Our master will be arriving soon, and this will either bring us great accolades or severe rebukes. I need not remind you of the agony brought on by our master's rebuke, so we need to endeavor to be worthy of his praise. One of his lieutenants moved next to him and spoke in a quiet tone. We have not heard from the last company you sent out to capture the fallen angel. This is true, my lord. We have lost over 100 elite assassins since you assigned us to this task. There must be another way to claim our master's prize. A second formidable demon added. Desecras cringed from the cowardice of his soldiers, but before the sensation could take hold of his tongue, a bitter resolve filled his charred heart. I will not allow your failures to taint my image before Satan. Our priority is to prepare my domain for Satan's arrival. We will intensify our oppression over all the inhabitants of this city and the outlying areas. Lust, covetousness, dishonesty, and murder will be the temptations each of you will focus on. He then addressed his lieutenant in a quiet voice only he could hear. The force I sent to capture this fallen angel should be contacting me shortly. I will assess their progress. If they have captured this missing angel before Satan arrives, then we will celebrate our good fortune. If not, then we will refocus our attention on him once our master has returned to Rome. Then, with a loud voice, Desecras addressed the crowd again. Do not speak of the fallen one in Satan's presence. I wish to surprise him with this mighty gift. A few hours later, Desecras was engrossed with a new task. 1, 2, 3, 4. Desecras counted with a creaky cadence. Poised astride a guard tower on the outskirts of Ashdod, the demonic prince watched as several people of Ashdod coalesced in one of the town squares. 7, 8, 9. He turned to his left, where a long, slender, reptilian-like demon bowed low before him. Is there enough, master? There will be. Once our guest of honor enters the city, the groundwork will be laid. Desecras replied. Then we will be able to stir up a mob to commit sin on a larger scale than they can do individually. Ashdod will be a glorious display of debauchery when our Lord arrives. Moments later, Desecras grinned with sadistic glee. Now we begin. In the hierarchy of the demonic ranks, there are those who climbed up and those who were climbed over. Satan promoted those who promoted themselves. This is how Desecras found himself to be the Prince of Ashdod. He overthrew his predecessor. And this is how Desecras would keep his ranks strong, by finding the vilest self-aggrandizers under him to feed their ambition. Of course, he would never allow them to be as close to him as the former Prince of Ashdod, Dagon, permitted him to be. On this day of preparation, Desecras would use the mass oppression of his domain to determine which members of his army should be given more opportunities. He summoned 10 of the most promising defilers to his side. Today, we must draw out as much sinful behavior from the citizens of Ashdod as possible to prepare my domain for the arrival of Satan. How do you propose we do this? Desecras motioned to all the 10 demons assembled before him. The first to answer was a thin, lizard-like spirit covered in leprous sores, oozing with pus and blood. We draw as many of them as we can to the bathhouses and then tempt them with lust for one another. Desecras looked at the respondent. So, you would spend the entire day hoping for these people to go to the bathhouses? The reptilian demon looked at the ground without response. The prince of Ashdod asked, "Anyone else wish to display their brilliant strategies for harvesting sin?" When no one else answered, he scowled at each of them. "All these centuries of my guidance and influence have been wasted on you. For any of you to entertain promotion among our ranks, you will need to survey the field of battle for the opportunity to bring forth the most sin with the least amount of effort. Today, I will show you how to incite a mob of people to sin." He pointed to the eastern gate. "Behold the rotund man dressed in the robes of the religious leaders. Do any of you recognize him?" Another demon, a brute with the muscular body of a man and the head of a falcon, spoke. "He is Jabbathoth, a Sadducee from Jerusalem." This time, Desecras acted before he answered by striking the brute in the mouth. "Foolish Grabtar, anyone could see he is a Sadducee. His name means nothing to me. Look closer. See it." As the man walked towards them, Desecras could see several spiritual scars around Jabbathoth's neck, chest, and a thick concentration of them around the man's groin. The lizard-like demon spoke again. "He is ravaged by lust and violence." Exactly. Jabbathoth is a man of influence among the people, and he is bound to us by his many black desires. Your first goal when inciting a mob is to find those who have the most influence. Desecras said. He will be the instigator. Fangriel, the reptile-like demon, bowed low before Desecras, and then cocked her head upward so Desecras could see her eyes. "Oh, Master, your wisdom is truly great." The demonic prince snarled at Fangriel. "Do not flatter me, scum. Now, pay attention. We must choose our target." He scanned the group of people for several minutes and was about to give up when a young man and woman walked by the crowd. "There, they will do nicely," Desecras leered. The man of no more than 20 years hovered over a young woman like an eagle over its nest. His black hair and dark skin revealed a Middle Eastern heritage. He wore a long, light, expensive robe that went down to his knees. The woman was exceptionally beautiful, to the point where every head turned to gaze upon her. She walked with a slight timidity, as if she had been sheltered from the vagaries of life on the streets. She dressed in a flowing robe that went down to her ankles. Desecras commanded the reptile-like demoness, "Now, Fangriel, since you are the only one courageous enough to offer your opinion, go over to the Sadducee and dig your claws into the back of his head. You will be amazed at how much influence you have over the lustful wretch." Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Jabbathoth couldn't help but feel insulted. The Sanhedrin sent him to Ashdod with two objectives: to increase attendance at the local synagogue and to improve relations with the city's leaders. He surveyed the pagan people with disdain. How could he achieve anything with such rabble as its population? A tall man, clothed better than most of the filth around Jabbathoth, approached him. "You must be the teacher sent from Jerusalem." "Yes, I am. You must be Alexander," Jabbathoth replied. He reached up and touched Alexander's shoulder. "I am not seeing a lot of potential in Ashdod for religious growth." A resentful murmur filtered through the men behind Alexander. "Please withhold your final judgment on Ashdod until you see how our men follow orders. You will find us most ready to obey the edicts of the Sanhedrin if our city is chosen as your port of commerce." At that very moment, he caught sight of a striking beauty, one which made his loins burn with lust. A voice echoed in his head. She will do nicely. A worthy offering as your payment for the waste of time coming to Ashdod will be. Jabberthoth couldn't turn his gaze from the beautiful maiden, and only managed to do so when Alexander spoke. Where are your belongings? Alexander asked, his face initially showing a confused look, which then widened into a wry smile. Jabberthoth smiled back. My servants are with 2 carts just outside the city gates. Have someone show them where to take my belongings. You and I have more pressing matters. He leered in the direction of the young woman. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. A sense of intense pleasure came over Desecras as he watched his plan come together. He motioned for Fangriel and the other 9 demons to return to his side. Now watch the seeds of temptation you planted grow into a canopy of violent destruction. This Sadducee has a reputation throughout Judea. Well, I am not going to spoil it. See for yourself. They watched Jabberthoth whisper something in Alexander's ear. Then Alexander did the same with a few men near him. Much later, as long shadows hid the deeds meant for darkness, a woman's screams pierced the air of Ashdod. She and her male companion were never seen again. As night returned to Ashdod, Desecras stood in his sanctuary's main chamber and revelled in the afterglow from the daytime's sinful events. Dozens of demons filled the dank cavern. All of them remained utterly silent, as Desecras contemplated what was to come. Lucifer will arrive in Ashdod before the morrow's moon crests the sky. We must be ready. One of his lieutenants interjected, Now that we have a significant portion of Ashdod's population frothed up with sin, I am sure our master will be pleased. Desecras gave a quick glance to the lieutenant, then addressed the crowd. This is why I should be the only one to speak. He turned to the brute who now cowered at his feet. So, you suppose the Prince of Darkness would be appeased with this town's debauchery, even though a fallen angel roams free? With a rapid slash from Desecras' sword, he sent the subordinate to the pits, leaving a thin wisp of black smoke where the massive demon had been. All of you return to your stations, Desecras commanded. Once the cavern was empty, he took his amulet in the palm of his hand, squeezed until his blood covered the adornment, and spoke an incantation to speak with Hell's arcane master, Geraboth. A shredded, hoarse voice cackled from the amulet. Desecras, Prince of Ashdod, how is it you believe yourself to be worthy enough to summon me? I am working on a matter of the highest importance for our Lord, the matter of the fallen angel. No sound came from the amulet for several seconds. Then the voice responded, My assignment is of greater importance, however, since the fallen angel will improve our master's mood. Come to Joppa, and I will hear your request. Bring everything you have regarding this fallen one and the angel that guards him. How do you know about the angel? Desecras asked. If an angel were not protecting the fallen one, he would be in our custody by now. Even your wretched soldiers could capture an unguarded fallen angel. Quit questioning me and get here before I change my mind. With the swiftness of a lightning strike, the Prince of Ashdod exited his sanctuary and flew to the city of Joppa. Upon arrival in the city, Desecras proceeded to the western edge of the city and followed the coastline to Joppa's northern side. A natural barrier of rocky cliffs stretched further north until a larger oval-shaped basin suddenly appeared. The Prince of Ashdod landed in a gorge where 2 virulent demonic guards stood watch. Geraboth is expecting you, Desecras. Wait here, and I will tell him of your arrival. The guard's words gave no hint of respect, and his voice dripped with annoyance. Usually, Desecras would react with violence to the guard's attitude, but his need for Geraboth's assistance held his violent tendencies in check. Go and tell him of my arrival. I will not wait too long. Both guards moved closer, their chests puffed out. From behind the guards, the gravelly voice spoke. I do not have time to suffer your petty grievances with one another. Guards, back to your posts. Desecras, come with me. He followed the grotesque demon through a long, narrow cave, which meandered for 100 paces before ending at a smooth granite facade. In a few circular gestures, Geraboth motioned with both of his melted hands until an opening formed in the rock face, which would allow both to enter a dark tunnel. After they stepped through the opening, a flash of green flames sprouted from the sconces that were set on each side of the cave. Desecras followed behind Garaboth as the arcane master slowly oozed through the corridor until he reached a fork in the path. He turned and stared at Desecras for a time, then said, "You will stay close behind me and do not turn your gaze to the right. My most treasured innovation is nearing completion. Satan will be most displeased with anyone who unveils its secrets before he sees it." This warning only amplified Desecras's curiosity, so even as he followed Garaboth closely, he made sure to glance to his right the entire time. When they walked through a wider opening, Desecras's eyes darted everywhere, but only saw a large room filled with apothecary jars and instruments. Garaboth laughed. "You think me a fool, Desecras? I would sooner welcome Satan's wrath on my own head than to trust you with visions of my genius. You will have to wait like the rest of hell to see my Tradius in all its glory. You are so gullible." Desecras did not allow Garaboth's mocking to confuse his purpose for coming to Joppa. My initial attempts to lay claim to the fallen angel were met with stronger resistance than I would have expected. From the limited reports from the first demons I sent, one angel stood against them as they tried to lay claim to the fallen angel. Garaboth did not seem fazed by the demon prince's anxiety. "Did any of the assassins you sent to retrieve the fallen one contact you before they were eliminated?" "Yes," Desecras answered. "I assume they contacted you through your amulet." Garaboth stated, his frog-like eyes widened as the tension increased. "Of course. That is the only way there is for us to communicate over vast distances." Desecras' answer. "Then I need your amulet." Garaboth stretched out his hand towards Desecras. The demon prince turned his head up to face the pale moonlight and with his fingers moved a chain necklace from under his armoured breastplate. He pulled the chain up until a large, star-shaped amulet came up. He handed it to the arcane master. Garaboth began to make guttural sounds. The sounds grew louder. Yegathua denath verdna malumik. Desecras' amulet vibrated and hummed. It shimmered with a bluish-white glow. Then the vibrations became convulsive, and a brilliant orb sprang out of the center of the amulet and floated above the pair. The sphere spun like a comet for several seconds until javelins of light shot through the darkness. Then the beams of light coalesced and slowly spread out to form a canopy over Desecras and the arcane master. Inside the canopy, images were displayed. The scene began on a beach as dark, swirling waves rolled towards a powerful, illuminated figure. An angel. The angel grew as the demonic perspective drew closer. The angel swung a sword towards the beholder, causing a brilliant explosion that ended the transmission. "I have not seen this angel before." Desecras scowled. Garaboth laughed in a low, gurgling tone. "Your recollections of the angels in heaven are irrelevant. My question is, why would there be so much attention given to a fallen angel? Usually, we make our claim uncontested," Garaboth said. "I do not know, nor do I care. I only care about catching him. How can we catch the fallen one if we don't know what he looks like?" The demon prince barked. "Can we enhance these images to see more of the beach?" Garaboth opened his hand with Desecras' amulet in it. The brightness began to diminish. "There should be enough energy left to pull in the other two assassins' recollections if they contacted you." Desecras nodded. "Yes, all three of the attackers remained in contact. I did send a fourth demon to amplify their signal, but he did not transmit to me." "That is most unfortunate." The arcane master chanted again, and the viewpoint in the canopy shifted. "Look, on the far right side." Crawling on the sand, at the very end of the scene, were legs and the lower part of a torso, scrambling like a crab on the sand. The arms and head were just out of sight. "I can't see his face from either of these viewpoints. Were they the only ones to see the fallen one?" Garaboth queried. "No. The two harassers, Heresy and Squiff, found him on the beach." Desecras's tension mounted. "But they did not engage their amulets until they left the beach. And from what they told me, they did not see his face." Do you remember the last time we captured a fallen angel? Yes. Desecras's patience was being frayed. That fallen angel also appeared in physical form before we claimed him. The only way we found him came from the celestial aura, the light of an angelic spirit, which leaves a fallen angel shortly after they fall. We were fortunate to find him the first day, because all accounts of the celestial aura state it dissipates within the first 3 days. Then we have little time before this one can disappear among the people. I have sent my best scouts back to the beach, and hopefully they will pick up the annoying wretch's trail, Desecras said.